And we are live. Welcome back to Takes by Fans. We got a great show for you today. As always, we are live every single day at noon Eastern. If you want to watch live, head over to twitch.tv/takesbyfans. If you want to watch but not live, head over to our YouTube channel, Takes by Fans. We post all of our shows and clips of the show there on a daily basis. And if you just want to listen, we are on podcasting apps, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. So however you want to watch or listen, we've got you covered in multiple ways. All right, today's a big old Saturday. We got NFL kicking off tomorrow, but we still have today, unfortunately, we got college football kicking off right around now. So today we got nothing kind of definite set, but we haven't updated our quarterback kind of rankings in a while. It's been a couple of months. The last time we updated our quarterback rankings was in the off season, June 25th to be exact. So we've got a couple months without rearranging our quarterbacks. We're 3 weeks into this season, heading into week number 4. So let's kind of reorder our quarterbacks. Which ones are the best? Who's the best of the best right now? So that's what we're going to take a look at today on the show. Just taking a look at all the quarterback performances this season, what they've been doing, reordering them to get a better sense of who are the elite quarterbacks and how do they stack up against each other. So that's what we're going to be doing today on the show. But there are a couple of things we do have to talk about today. So let's just jump right into it with the stories of the day. And the first one up here, folks, I mean, this is why we feel very confident about betting the Saints. It's one of our, is it our lock pick? What do we got? We put this in our locks or our 99% guarantees? Oh, we got it in our locks. Saints -7.5. I think we officially locked it in at. But, you know, we're saying that this Saints team back at home after Hurricane Ida, that stadium's going to be rocking and roaring. And that Giants offense that's so lackluster and out to a slow start, they're going to get behind and they are not going to be able to do anything because of that raucous crowd. Excited to see their team back in the stadium. So we get a lot of Saints players here in this article quoting, hey, this is going to be something here. So let's read the clickbait headline for this article that's going to get us interested, and then we'll go and see what everybody's saying. But here we go. After growing closer amid displacement, Saints brimming with excitement for return to Superdome, saying, quote, I know the city is looking forward to us winning. So that's why we like the Saints -7.5, whatever you locked it in at. Is it now up to -8? It would not surprise me. Let's refresh the line real quick. Is it still at -7.5 for the Saints, or is it continuing to climb? What do we got? Where are the Saints at? Here we go. Wow, drop back down to 7. So bet it now because it could potentially go back up to 7.5, and you definitely don't want that half a point hook. But let's go into this article and see what these players are saying. They know this Saints community, the Saints crowd, the town, the city of New Orleans out here. They know it. And obviously we had, the hurricane a couple of years ago that they came back and fought through. And then they won the Super Bowl that year. Drew Brees just kind of doing his thing. So let's see how they're going to handle this hurricane, this kind of, unfortunate natural disaster. And we know they always build back stronger over there in New Orleans. So here we go. All right, let's read the lead-ups here. Here we go. On top of opening the season with what amounted to a month-long road trip, the Saints were without 8 coaches in Week 2 due to positive COVID-19 tests. The team also watched from afar as part of the roof at Caesars Superdome caught on fire on September 21st. Players saw it and thought to themselves, are we ever going to get home? Quote here by safety Malcolm Jenkins says, quote, I think if you see anything like a pendulum, you have to think we got some good stuff coming. The fun thing about this team and being around all of this, there hasn't been a lot of conversations about it. Nobody feels like it's something that's impeding our ability to have success. I mean, it's annoying. Guys want to be home and not on the road, but nobody is looking at it like it should change our expectations on Sundays, which is hard to do that in our league. That's what I'm excited about because nobody has flinched. When momentum does swing back to our side and we get that stretch where things are just normal, I'm excited to see how we perform. So Malcolm Jenkins out here is ready to get back at home. They can use kind of all this kind of, home field, what's happening to their community, what's happening to their city, and what's happening to their stadium as kind of, they can use that for fuel. But Malcolm Jenkins, this doesn't really play that much of a role in it, which I think he's downplaying it just a little bit. And we are going to get some other quotes here by players that are kind of playing into it a little bit more than Malcolm Jenkins is, but they don't want to use this as an excuse here for the Saints. They're just like, hey, it is what it is. We're still going to play the style of football that we're going to play. And, if this does help us in some momentum situations, hey, we'll take it. But we're not going to kind of use this as a key factor of why we're winning games or why we're losing games. We still got to go out there and perform on the field. All right, another quote here by Marquez Callaway, but let's read the lead up here. This past Wednesday, as the team began its preparation for Sunday's game against the Giants, the practice had a feel unlike the ones that have preceded it this season, according to players I spoke with. Being back on their own practice field in their own facility brought a new energy. Players are trying to prepare themselves for what to expect on Sunday at the Superdome. It'll be 637 days since the last time the Saints played in front of a full capacity crowd in their city. It's already known as one of the toughest places to play for visiting teams. The noise from fans has been known to reach well over 100 decibels. Marquez Callaway, quote, I think Sean Payton's trying to simulate it in practice with the crowd noise, but from what I've heard from coaches, this crowd, be prepared. They are going to be hyped. Be ready. The Hurricane, the first home game after COVID, capacity restrictions, and the crazy start of the season for us. I know the fans are going to be there. I know the city is going to be there. I can't imagine how it's going to be. So they're trying to kind of, get prepared mentally, emotionally in practice, getting up that noise up. It's going to be hard to hear. Even though the fans are cheering for you, they're still cheering, and it's still going to be hard to hear, but they're ready to kind of, get thrown into that situation, and they're trying to prepare for it the best that they can. So they're going to try and ride that momentum all game long, and we truly think they do that. All right. Quote here by Malcolm Jenkins. Let's read the lead up here. While Payton has made it as loud as possible at practice, players have admitted nothing compares to the actual crowd noise. Thus far, it sounds like the coach hasn't spoken much to the team about this game, about what this game means to the city and how fans might react Sunday when the team takes the field or has to make a big third down stop on defense. Quote here by Malcolm Jenkins. Sean Payton hasn't really talked about it as much. That narrative has come from the players. We feel very attached to the city. It's not only what we're going through moving to Dallas. We also understand that there are people that have lost everything. We know what it meant the last time a big storm hit the season and how they leaned on the way we performed to find some kind of normalcy, some kind of joy. So we know that is on our back, and we actually enjoy that. It gives us extra motivation to show up each week. Every game means something, which it does, but it means something a little bit more. So once again, or let's just read this last quote here and then we'll wrap it up. But Marquez Callaway, quote, I know the city is looking forward to us winning. That's what we try to play for. Demario Davis said it in his speech that the team really needs to take notice how, with all this going on and everything that is happening to our city, everyone is still watching us, looking forward to us brightening their day. They'll have our backs, win or lose, even though they want us to win. Who doesn't? That's what we play for. We play for each other, and we play for the city. So they know the city's going to be there this Sunday, folks. Finally, the first game back in New Orleans after everything that has happened. 600 plus days since the last time fans have been in attendance to watch the Saints potentially win, and now they're going against a Giants team that has been absolutely abysmal for the first 3 weeks of the season. I mean, how many points have they put up, folks? I don't know if they've scored more than 20 points the entire season, folks. So here we go. Week 1 for the Giants. How many points did they put up? 13. Week 2, they put up 29. Unfortunate loss there. And then just last week, they put up a whopping 14 points at home. So this is not a dangerous offense, an explosive offense that is going to take the Saints by surprise. The defense should be able to lock it down. And then that crowd rocking, roaring, screaming, partying, celebrating, watching their Saints finally with their own eyes in person at their home stadium. I just think it's going to be way too much to overcome here for this Giants team. The Saints know it. They're not using this as big motivation, but they know that they can expect that rocking, roaring, celebratory crowd there in New Orleans. So it's not, the big mantra in the locker room. Sean Payton's not going around and be like, hey, y'all got to win this week. This is a big week. They're here for y'all. They're here for you to brighten up their day. They just lost everything. They lost their homes. They lost that, but they still managed to come here and watch y'all. That's not what they're doing there in the locker room. They're just doing it business as usual. Another game as usual. The classic Bill Belichick. We're on to the Giants. We're on to the Giants. We don't care about, the hurricane. That's truly unfortunate. We're giving back. We have everybody in our thoughts and prayers, but we're not utilizing that as the only sole motivation here. It's business as usual, and they know what to expect when they walk into that Superdome come Sunday. Raucous, chanting, celebratory Saints fans that's one of the best home field advantages in the league. Obviously, Seattle, New England, because of their dynasty, and New Orleans is right up there, maybe Green Bay as well. Those are the toughest places to play because that home advantage truly makes it an advantage for the team. And Marquez Callaway, Janoris Jenkins are all having the same thought. They know what to expect, and they're going to be ready to play. So we're big on the Saints this week. Saints -7, Saints -7.5, whatever you've locked it in at. We really think they absolutely blow it out of the water. Saints -20. Do we dare say that? Let's quickly see how much we can bet this game up by. Should we go all the way up to Saints minus what? How high can we go, DraftKings? Saints -22.5. It's plus 500 odds. We absolutely love it. This is going to be a blowout. The Giants will not even be able to think in this stadium, folks. And if you can't think, you can't perform. And if you can't perform, you lose the game. So Saints -22.5, folks. Take it, take it, take it. Love it. Alrighty, next story up here, and this is what we're talking about, this Steelers team getting out to a slow start, and it's not just this season, it goes back to last season during their kind of meltdown at the back end of the season. So here we go, a stat that sums up the Steelers' offensive struggles. Pittsburgh has been outscored 64-6 in the first quarter. We're only talking about the first quarter here. They've been outscored 64-6 in the first quarter in their last 11 games. Dating back to last season, and the only 6 points that they put up in the first quarter came on a defensive touchdown. So Big Ben and company has to get it figured out here. They cannot get out to slow starts. If you get out to a slow start, you usually do not win the game, and this is exactly what it is right here. Let's go back to the Steelers' record for their last 11 games when they've been getting out to this slow start, to see, is that true? Does getting out to a slow start mean an automatic loss? We kind of know it does, but let's get the facts and the actual stats to back it up. So the last 11 games, they've played 3 games so far this season. So we have to go the last 8 games over last season. So here we go. Let's go back to the last 8 games. They had 1 playoff game. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here we go. They've been outscored 64-6 in the last 11 games in the first quarter. Did that slow start hinder their wins? Let's see. So here we go. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Ravens. They lose to Washington. They lose to the Bills. They lose to the Bengals. They beat the Colts. They lose to the Browns. They lose to the Browns. That's all last season. And then this season, what do they got going on? They beat the Bills. They lose to the Raiders. They lose to the... Who did they just lose to last week? Who did they just have last week? The Bengals. So they've gone 4-7 over their last 11 games because they get out to a slow start. And you read the teams that they beat, folks. I mean, lackluster teams, nothing good out there. They're not beating the good teams. They beat Buffalo week 1, but that was because Josh Allen was getting out to a little bit of a slow start. And that's to be expected. Start of a new season. We're not expecting, or we shouldn't really expect everybody coming out and firing guns a-blazing right from week 1. That rarely ever happens. And that goes back to last season with the Bucs, even Tom Brady with a new team year 1, a little bit of, getting their feet underneath them, and then they hit the ground running. So they beat the Bills this season, but it came in week 1, and then everything else, nothing really great. So they definitely have their work cut out for them. They need to change something around. It's not 100% Matt Canada, but Matt Canada was brought in to fix the problem, and he's not fixing the problem at all. They are still struggling to come out firing, and they have the pieces, folks. They have the running back. They have the receivers. They have the quarterback. They are just not getting it done. So something must give here. The Steelers team must figure out a way to start scoring the ball right from the get-go, throughout the entire game to be competitive, because we just said they're 4-7 over the last 11 games, folks. That's not good. You want your team to be 4-7? Do you want your team starting this season 4-7? Of course not. So this Steelers team, they're way too good for this lackluster offense. They're way too loaded. Big Ben's last ride, and nobody's kind of playing up to the urgency that should be playing on somebody's last season. I mean, we're talking about this Bucs team, and we're going to talk about the Bucs a little bit later, probably next. It might be next up. But I mean, we're talking about this Bucs defense, ready to kind of play against New England this week, because it means so much to Brady, and everybody is just going to play up even more on what they usually do because they want to win for Tom Brady. Nobody's coming out here and trying to win for Ben Roethlisberger, even though it's his last season. Everybody's dropping balls when kind of, it's a double-digit deficit in the fourth quarter. We just heard, from the Bengals, who was it? Tyler Boyd said, I kind of saw them give up in the fourth quarter. Then Mike Tomlin comes out and says, hey, I don't care what Tyler Boyd says, and I kind of agree with Mike Tomlin. Of course you're going to kind of say that against your division rival that you just blew out. Oh my God, they were giving up. We actively saw them giving up at home. Ha ha ha. Like, of course they're going to say that. So whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter because they still lose in the end. So there's just no urgency here for Big Ben's last ride, and that's a little disrespectful. No, why is everybody not doing what they need to do and playing above what they usually do to kind of come out and come all together and put together a real solid season? If you don't win the Super Bowl, that's fine, but at least try to get there, and it doesn't even look like they're trying to get there. So nobody's playing for Big Ben out here. There's no urgency here on the Steelers team. We see it week in, week out for these first 3 weeks. We hope it changes because we would like to see Najee Harris have success. We would like to see Big Ben maybe get a ring his last season. And then they've just got great players all around this team that we would love to see have success. Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, James Washington. I mean, even Mike Tomlin, he's a real solid head coach. He's been, one of these these new age OG coaches here over the last 10 plus years. So we would love to see, everybody to continue to have success here in Pittsburgh, but nobody's playing up to any decent level of competition out here. So they've been outscored 64-6 in the first quarter over the last 11 games, folks. They are not ready to play. They are not ready to get going, and because they do not get it done in the first quarter, they don't really get it done for the rest of the game. Set the tempo, set the tone on your first drive, your second drive, get it done on defense. They're not doing anything out here at the start of the game, and it's carrying out, and they're losing games, not being competitive, and now they're kind of 3 weeks into the season. We just saw the Bengals win on Thursday. Do we dare say the Steelers team is the worst team in that division? I'm taking the Ravens. I'm taking the Bengals. I'm taking the Browns over the Steelers right now. How crazy is that to say? But we'll see what they do, and we'll see what they can try to turn around this week, but it's not looking good for them. All right, and this is what we're talking about for this Bucs team. And, they're going to say, hey, this has nothing to do with Tom Brady, but given the week, folks. This is the biggest game of the decade. This is the game of the decade, potentially the game of history. Could you imagine, folks, watching the biggest game in history, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, baseball, whatever it is, that you were able to witness the greatest game, the biggest game, whether it's a good game or a bad game, regardless, this is potentially the biggest game in NFL history, and maybe nothing ever comes close to living up to the hype of what this game is going to bring this week. So, you can call it, oh, we're not worried, we're not doing this for Tom Brady, we're just doing this because, you can say that, but do we really believe that? I don't think so. So here we go. Bucs head coach Bruce Arians today, this was yesterday, said, quote, "A hell of a week of practice. You could really feel the difference in intensity this week. It doesn't have a damn thing to do with Tom Brady. It has to do with losing." So we know this Bucs team's coming off of a really bad loss against the Rams last week. Unfortunate 10-point loss against, the best team in the league. And that's definitely what they don't want to do. Defending Super Bowl champions, Tom Brady, greatness all over the field, everything like that. So, truly unfortunate. And I'm sure the intensity of practice was elevated because of the loss. But you can't tell me that this has zero, nothing, nada to do with Tom Brady trying to beat Bill Belichick. Tom Brady, of course, wants to win this game. Bill Belichick, of course, he wants to win this game. They're, giving each other big praise in the media because, of course, what else are they going to do? Nobody knocks each other, in the national media because they know what the national media would do. Could you imagine if Tom Brady came out in the press conference and said, oh, yeah, I deserve all the credit. Bill really didn't do anything. It was all really me. I had to go get it done on the field, and I went out and won all those championships. And then, come Sunday, when Tom Brady loses, and then they just play all those quotes by Tom Brady. So Tom Brady's not going to set himself up for that kind of failure if that is the case come Sunday. And Bill Belichick is going to do the same thing. That's why you get these athletes not coming out and knocking and actively disrespecting their opponents, because it gives them just unwarranted motivation. You get nothing out of it, and then they get all the fuel and motivation. Oh, Tom Brady says he's going to come and beat us, that we don't deserve any of the credit, that it's all him. We'll go out and show him. So that's why they don't say that in the national media. That's why they all just have big praise. Oh, Tom Brady says, oh, Bill Belichick's the best coach. Bill Belichick is actively admitting, hey, I would not have won all those rings if it wasn't for Tom Brady. Any other quarterback, I would not have as many rings. Like, what the heck? We would never imagine Bill Belichick ever saying that. But it's given the circumstance, it's given the timing that this is all coming, and they're both kind of giving each other big, huge compliments in the national media. But we both know they want to win this game. They want to show, hey, I'm the alpha. I was the reason for all the success, and that's going to be the narrative by the fans for the most part. Maybe some of the national sports media people will also talk about it, after this game. Hey, Bill Belichick won it. He deserves more credit than Tom Brady. Oh, Tom Brady won it. He deserves more credit than Bill Belichick. So, of course, that's, what everybody's going to be thinking. And you've got to expect that the players are going to play up a little bit more for Bill, and that these defensive players and these offensive weapons here for Tom Brady are going to play up a little bit above what they usually do to win for Tom, because Tom just brought them a ring last season. All of the starters from last season are back this season, so they are actively still thanking and appreciating Tom for the ring, for the trophy, for the boat parade, for the trophy toss, for the huge celebration, for the huge media spotlight on them, for everybody to know their names now, for everybody to talk about, oh, Carlton Davis is the best defender in the league, oh, Mike Evans is the best wide receiver in the league, Antonio Brown is so gosh dang good, oh, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones are the best running back duo in the league. I mean, that's all because of what Tom Brady did, and they all know that, and they truly want to win and kick the other team, the Patriots, players' asses on Sunday. So Tom Brady gets the win. Tom Brady feels good about himself. When Tom Brady's feeling good and playing good, this team is going to be absolutely, maybe almost unstoppable. And that's going to lead to what? Another potential ring where they can do it all over again next season. Hey, let's play the Patriots again because we want Tom Brady. We want to win for Tom Brady to make Tom Brady play better. So Tom Brady gives us our third ring. Tom, we know y'all got 7. You got 7, but please give us give us peasants down here 3 rings. 3 rings. Can you give us 3 rings, Tom? One's good, but man, oh man, it's not 7. And I don't know if we can get up to there quite yet, but just give us a little 3 rings, 3 little measly rings out here. So Bruce Arians can say whatever the hell he wants. I'm sure a part of why the intensity of practice was fantastic here for the Bucs this week. Yes, I'm sure it did come a little bit from losing, but for the majority, it's the circumstance. It's facing New England. It's facing the Patriots. It's Tom Brady coming back home, and y'all want to prove that, he's the reason for the success, and hopefully he can give y'all another ring. So I'm not buying it. Everybody's downplaying it this game. The players, the media is actively, truly hyping up this game, which is great. We've got no problem with that. But these players, these coaches, these people out here, that everybody's downplaying this game. And that's just what's to be expected, folks. We can read between the lines. Tom Brady said 95% of what I say to the national media is not exactly what I'm thinking. It's clear here, folks. This is clear what is going on. People trying to downplay a big game. Even in the Super Bowl, folks, they downplay the Super Bowl. How do you downplay a Super Bowl? We talk about it for 2 weeks. You can't downplay that. But, Bill Belichick, hey, we're just on to the Super Bowl. Hey, it's just a normal game. We're not going to get there early. It's just the same old routine. It's just a normal game. We're just going to go out there and play football, 60 minutes, normal game, all of that. We know what they say when they get to the Super Bowl, downplaying the Super Bowl. So, of course, they would be downplaying the biggest game in NFL history, folks. So we'll see who goes out there and shows out on Sunday. Does anybody try to do a little bit too much? That's why you downplay the game, so nobody does or tries to do too much. If Tom Brady starts trying to sling it downfield every opportunity he gets because he feels like he needs to go out and single-handedly win this game, then they probably lose, and he plays into exactly what Bill Belichick is trying to do defensively. So, and if Bill Belichick is just going to try and rush Tom Brady every single down to get him, off of his mark, to get him uncomfortable, but then Tom Brady figures that out and just he's got wide receivers that can win one-on-one matchups, so Bill Belichick just can't instantly blitz Tom Brady the entire game, or Bill Belichick will play into exactly what Tom Brady wants. Get him pressured, and he'll throw it up to Mike Evans, he'll throw it up to Antonio Brown, he'll throw it up to Scotty Miller, he'll throw it up to Chris Godwin, he will throw it up to himself if he has to. So we'll see who tries to do too much and who doesn't take the advice of downplaying it that is coming right from the helm of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick for the respective teams. So everybody's just trying to downplay this game, folks. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. This is a big game. This is the biggest game I've ever witnessed, folks. All right, next story up, and what the hell? What the literal heck, folks? I mean, Matt Nagy needs to be fired yesterday. He needs to be fired right now, folks. Absolutely, because now we get this dumb story. Bears head coach Matt Nagy said his starting quarterback for Sunday's game against the Lions will be a game-time decision. A game-time decision at quarterback? What? That's not a position that you can have a game-time decision on, because that's your leader. That's your practice. That's your entire team. It all hinges on the play of the quarterback. And you're going to go into this week with your entire team not knowing who's the guy? What are we doing? Are you expecting to win this game if you have a game time decision at quarterback? And you can't overlook the Lions here. You can't be like, oh, well, we're facing the Lions. This is the worst team in the league. Spoiler alert, this Lions team is not the worst team in the league, folks. That's kind of the Falcons, or maybe even the Giants now. It's not this Lions team. They are competitive as heck. Yes, they haven't won a game, but they don't give up, and that's the Dan Campbell effect, and they are right on the door of winning, and they just got absolutely kind of shafted last week with that, delay of game call not being called, and then having a 66-yard game-winning field goal be the reason why you lose the game. That's going to fuel them even more to get the win, secure the win, hold on to the lead, and you better believe that defense is going to hunker down, because they just had the Ravens kind of have a game-winning drive on them last week. they're going to shut it down this week. So this is not the week to play around and mess around and experiment and try to, outthink the room here. This is not the week to do it, Matt Nagy. And here we are, you doing it this week. Why? What benefit do you have of not naming your starter? Are you trying to, outthink the room and be big brain IQ out here? Be like, oh, I'm going to kind of not give the Lions preparation for our quarterback. Who cares? It's Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. It's not like they're preparing for Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. Yes, we like Justin Fields, but he's a rookie, okay? And Andy Dalton has done nothing in his entire career. So what are you trying to do here? Even Nick Foles, to even play Nick Foles. Oh, that's such a big weapon and such a mysterious, oh no, nobody can figure out what Nick Foles can do. The Lions can shut down any quarterback here for the Bears. These are not jewels here. These are not A1 tier 1 quarterbacks. These are lackluster, mediocre, average quarterbacks at best for the current moment. We're not trying to knock Justin Fields here with our rant of knocking Matt Nagy, but that, we talk about it realistically. He is a rookie who shows a little, glimpses of promise, but he's started one game and got knocked around, unfortunately. So this is not the week to experiment. What the heck is this? Who are you trying to kind of fool here? Or who are you trying to, mysteriously lead by not naming a starter 2 days before the game? What is this? Matt Nagy, why are you still going back to Andy Dalton or maybe even thinking about Nick Foles? It's Justin Fields time. You already put him in a game. You already got sacked 9.5 times. So what are we doing out here? He's already had his welcome to the NFL moment. If you don't start him anymore, he's just going to not grow. And that's why you play rookie quarterbacks, to have them grow so they're good next year. Because when you start a rookie quarterback, you're always kind of planning for next season, the year after. We're really not expecting anything from the rookie this season because rookie quarterbacks usually, for the most part, don't make an instant impact in the win column. So we're really kind of playing for next season. So now this Bears team that has always played for next season, down the road, you have to get that going now by starting Justin Fields for the rest of the season. Going from Justin Fields to Andy Dalton, back to Justin Fields, back to Andy Dalton. That doesn't make any sense out here. And Andy Dalton doesn't give you a better chance of winning than what Justin Fields does. Justin Fields has put up the same amount of points in one game that Andy Dalton has done, every single game. I think Andy Dalton's most points he's put up single-handedly this season was like 7 points. They bring in Justin Fields. He's able to score a couple more points. Justin Fields, he scored like 6 points last week. I think 2 field goals, didn't score a touchdown, but still 6 points. That's what Andy Dalton does, 6-7 points. Nothing more impressive out here. So Matt Nagy, I don't understand what the hell he's trying to do. Outthink the room, be the smartest person. You're making yourself actively look like the worst head coach in the NFL. Matt Nagy's the worst head coach in the NFL. It's not Dan Campbell. It's not Robert Saleh. It's 100% Matt Nagy, and he's not even a rookie head coach. I take Urban Meyer over Matt Nagy right now. How crazy is that? So Matt Nagy is truly garbage as a head coach. He should be fired for even having this thought. I don't like to kind of be the thought police here and kind of shame people for just thoughts that pop up in their head or just thoughts that they just kind of, just think so they can just think things through like normal people do. I mean, you shouldn't be shamed for having a thought, folks. Think it out in your head. Use logic. Follow that line, follow that thought that popped up in your head and just think it through and be like, oh yeah, that was just a nonsense thought, or hey, this is a potential good thought, or oh, this is an actual really good thought, or this is just the worst thought ever. I don't even know why it came in my head, but I use logic and I just kind of thought it out. I don't like to kind of knock anybody for their thoughts, but if you have this thought of, hey, maybe I should, not name my quarterback just quite yet and wait till game time to name my quarterback. That's a good thought. If you even have that thought, you should be fired immediately. And Matt Nagy actively said this, so that's worse than even thinking it. So I don't even know. What are we doing? What the heck are the Bears doing? Matt Nagy should be fired. Do y'all disagree? Am I out of my gourd for saying that Matt Nagy should be fired because he's making his starting quarterback decision for week 4? This is not week 1 where you're still kind of trying to play the game. Hey, are we going to play our starter? Are we going to play the rookie? Hey, you got to prepare for both of them. This is week 4. Who cares who you're going to play? They're going to shut you down regardless because this Bears offense is still trash because, once again, Matt Nagy's calling the plays. So he's calling the plays, making the starter decisions, and they're losing basically every single game. At some point, Matt Nagy, you got to look in the mirror because you're the reason why this Bears team is absolutely atrocious. It's 100% on Matt Nagy, and he should be fired accordingly because of that. So, who cares who's going to start? They won't score. They won't put up any points, and we think the Lions will win. We took the Lions +3 in our official picks this week, and this is exactly why, because Matt Nagy doesn't know what the heck he's doing here. Alrighty, some outs here for this week. Unfortunate for this Titans team. Wide receivers Julio Jones and A.J. Brown are both out for Sunday's game. We saw them kind of go down last week in the game real early on. They were still able to squeak out the win, which was great, but now they're here against the Jets. Are the Jets going to be able to take advantage of a not great Titans offense? Ryan Tannehill still got it done last week, and they still have to worry about Derrick Henry. So this is not going to be a cakewalk here for the Jets, but it is going to be a little bit harder for this Titans team to win the game. Let's see if the line has dropped any since this news officially broke. We knew this line was about, I believe it was Titans -5.5. But let's see now that these two wide receivers and kind of their number one and number 2 receiving threats are out. Did the line change at all? And did this line go up? Or did this start at Titans -7? We got Score Mobile up. They track what these lines open up at, because now the line is Titans -6. Jets +6. So I wouldn't see this line going up for the Titans when your wide receivers go out. So it may have started at 7. Did it start at 7? It did start at 7.5. So it went from Titans -7.5 to Titans -6 with their 2 wide receivers being out. So that's a 1.5 difference, which is that's pretty big in the league. No one player is usually worth kind of a full point to themselves. Not even really quarterbacks are really kind of a full value point themselves, for the most part. So having these 2 wide receivers be out for this Titans team, pretty decent decline there. So I don't think the Titans are going to have that many issues here against this Jets team. But this is the Jets' opportunity to, go out there and win a game finally. We'll see if they take advantage. But no A.J. Brown and Julio Jones this week for the Titans. Then we get this, not great here. Bucs officially listing tight end Rob Gronkowski as doubtful for Sunday's matchup versus the Patriots, and we need to really see Rob Gronkowski out there. We talk about Tom Brady and Bill, but Rob Gronkowski was still part of that Patriots dynasty and team and why they won ring after ring after ring. Rob Gronkowski still wants to kind of show, hey, I can get open in a Bill Belichick defense and I can still be a big threat out here. So I really want to see Rob Gronkowski out on the field. I want to see everybody at their full 100% full strength potential out here, because like we said, this is the biggest game in NFL history, and you don't want, this player was out and this player was out. It's going to water down the game. So hopefully Rob Gronkowski can make it. He wants to make it. He definitely wants to be out there. So hopefully he can give it a go, and hopefully at least, Gronk spike 1 or 2 times out here in Bill's face a little bit. So we'll see if Rob Gronkowski is good to go, but he is listed as doubtful. Alrighty, Rams expect running back Darrell Henderson to play this week. Now, we just saw Sony Michelle, I believe, last week truly get it done. I think he put up, 70 yards rushing, 60, 70. Let me see if I can bring it up very quickly right here, because they've been making the running game work without Darrell Henderson. Yeah, Sony Michelle, 20 carries for 67 yards. Real solid work out there, just getting here with the Rams, a couple of weeks ago, and still getting it done when his number was called to be the number 1. So Rams getting their running back, their number 1. Sony Michelle is still a great number 2 in this league, and now with the passing game that has already been established right from the get-go week 1, they're going to get their rushing attack back and better than ever. So this Rams team is going to continue to get better, and they've got the Cardinals this week. So this is when they really have to, kick it into high gear. You have to beat your division opponents because they are so good. And if you lose one game in the division, it really could be the difference. So we'll see which team in the NFC West basically doesn't go 3-3. I mean, I'm expecting they split every single game here in the division because the talent is that good, but we'll see what this Rams rushing attack and passing attack can do when they have their first big opponent here in the division, Cardinals, coming into town. Alrighty, and then the last story here. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson officially questionable to play versus the Broncos. We've seen him kind of miss a couple of practices last week, but still play, and the same thing happened this week. He missed a couple of practices. He's doubtful, or he's questionable, but I would still expect Lamar Jackson to play out here. But, this is kind of what we're saying. Him missing, some of these practices, his conditioning may not be 100% on par, and he has to go into Mile High. So, once again, we are truly liking this Broncos team. Let's see, did this line change at all? We got it in at Broncos +1, and the new spread is, what do we get? Where's this game at? Here we go. It's still Broncos +1. So Lamar Jackson, a little questionable, but he's pretty much going to be out there on the field. But we'll see if his conditioning's up. We'll see if his receivers start catching some passes, and we'll see what Elijah Bateman can do, their rookie wide receiver that is back this week. So big potential here for the Ravens. We'll see if they go out and take it. We don't really think they do. Alrighty, those are all the stories and topics that we just needed to touch on today, gearing us up for tomorrow's big day of NFL Week 4, all day 1s, 4s, 8s. It's going to be great. Alrighty, but let's head over to our quarterback rankings, folks. We haven't touched this list since June 25th, folks. It's been a while. We haven't really, we did it in the off season as we were kind of gearing up for the season, and now it's been 3 games, 3 weeks. Some 2 teams have played 4 games. We got the Thursday night game. But, we're heading into kind of week 4, the thick of it in week 4. But let's get a nice gauge of where we kind of rank these quarterbacks now that we have kind of finally seen them this season. And we're starting to kind of exit the kind of first stage of the NFL season. We usually kind of all talk about the NFL season in kind of 4-week stretches out here. Coaches, organizations really kind of take it kind of in 4-week chunks at a time. So we're starting to kind of get past that first initial 4-game chunk of the season. That's kind of the first, basically it's the first 4 games of the season. That's exactly what it is. Getting your feet underneath you, getting the team warmed up. Yeah, you had the practices in the offseason, the OTAs, and yeah, you played in some preseason games, but you truly don't have your game conditioning, your game kind of management conditioning 100% up to par, and that really kind of gets officially on track kind of games 3 and 4. And now as we head into kind of games 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that kind of 4 stretch period, we really should start to see these quarterbacks start being a lot more consistent and start just looking kind of exactly how we all picture these upper echelon quarterbacks to look, the Aaron Rodgers, the Patrick Mahomes, the Tom Brady. Now, all those quarterbacks are still looking really, really solid the first, 3 games. But who's looking the most great? Who's looking the best out here over the first 3 weeks? And that's kind of what we are going to do here today. So we have this working list. All we have to do is just kind of, change them. Real easy to switch. Bingo, bango. So, if we like something, we'll switch them. If we see something else, we'll switch them back. This is not a set in stone list, folks, a working list. But this is kind of what our original working list was in the offseason. Heading into the season, this is kind of where we ranked everybody. So we had Patrick Mahomes, kind of number 1. Then Justin Herbert, then Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Kyla Murray, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr, Daniel Jones, Matt Ryan, Tua, Joe Burrow, Ben Roethlisberger, Jimmy G, Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston, Tyrod Taylor, Cam Newton, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton, Drew Lock, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Kellen Mond, Trey Lance, and Case Keenum. Now, we did kind of like the starting quarterbacks here for every single team. Now, obviously, there's a couple of quarterbacks here that we didn't know weren't truly going to kind of be the starters out here. We made this list when, Deshaun Watson cases weren't 100% set in stone. We made this list before the starting quarterback was named in New Orleans. So we did have Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston. And I know what y'all are probably thinking to yourselves now, well, Jameis Winston had that big play in that big game in the preseason game number 2 where he went to Marquez Callaway 40 yards 2 times for touchdowns. But what has he done since then, folks? Not even throwing for 200 yards. So we are going to kind of talk through all these quarterbacks and what they've been doing and, ranking them and reordering them. But Jameis Winston, it's going to be a nice conversation to be had because what the heck do we actually make of Jameis Winston now that he is actually the starter and we're getting like 140 yards a game? It's nothing great. Hopefully he wakes up this week at home, but it's something to talk about. Tyrod Taylor, unfortunate, hasn't really played, injured again, unfortunate. Cam Newton is not playing, so he can probably be at the bottom. But let's start here at the top of the list, and let's try to get a nice working point. And then once we have like kind of that kind of number one solidified, that number one quarterback, then we can just kind of compare, number 2 to number 1, 3 to 1. How do we 3 to 2, all that. So let's just start talking about some quarterbacks out here. So let's start with Patrick Mahomes. Can we leave Patrick Mahomes as kind of the best quarterback in the league right now? I don't care what they did in their history. I don't care what they did last season. This is right now through 3 games. What are we liking at quarterback? Who do we think are the best quarterbacks this season and only this season alone? I don't care what their history. We're not taking your history, your accolades into consideration when we're actively building this working in-season list. So here we go. Can we keep Patrick Mahomes as the number 1 quarterback? I don't think we can. What makes Patrick Mahomes so great and so special is his ability to come back from behind and get those game-winning drives and clean up everything 100% offensively on those kind of fourth quarter game-winning, game-tying potential drives out there. And so far, we haven't gotten the magic of Patrick Mahomes. And once again, why I think people like Patrick Mahomes so much is because he resembles Aaron Rodgers in that kind of clutch ability. Aaron Rodgers' biggest accolade to his overall GOAT resume is that, he's got multiple comeback from behind victories. It doesn't matter. He gets it done when the time comes to get it done. A minute left. We just saw it this week. 38 seconds left. He goes down and wins the game. Patrick Mahomes had that kind of same special quality about him, but it's not showing this season. They're 1-2 this season. Game 2 against Baltimore, he throws that interception, unfortunately. That kind of leads them to the loss. And then against the Chargers just last week, he throws 2 interceptions, and then he doesn't complete that kind of, Aaron Rodgers, 38 seconds left. How much time did the Chiefs have against the Chargers? It was kind of almost like around a full minute, I think, and they just couldn't come back. When you were watching that game live, you're like, oh, Patrick Mahomes has it. This is, classic set up for Patrick Mahomes, and they missed the extra point, so they're only down 6. So this could be a true game-winning drive and not just a game-tying drive with the touchdown, but he couldn't complete it. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't go down. Patrick Mahomes couldn't go down and win that game himself, tie up that game himself. He just couldn't do that. So we're missing the Patrick Mahomes magic, and when when Patrick Mahomes' kind of magic isn't truly showing like it has his entire career, we get a 1-2 start. Unfortunate. But, his stats are all good. These are good stats. I just don't think we can count it as number 1. Game 1, 75% completion percentage, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, a flawless game, basically. Game 2, 77% completion percentage, 343 yards, 3 touchdowns, that 1 pick, truly unfortunate. And he also, I believe he fumbled. I don't know if he lost it in game number 1 or game number 2. And then game number 3, 61% completion percentage, only 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So with Patrick Mahomes, lack of magic, I don't think we can kind of keep him at number 1. So now we just have to actively look for somebody to put at number one. I can't put Justin Herbert at number one just quite yet, even though he's looking real solid this season. I'm loving the development that we're seeing from Justin Herbert, and it started at kind of, the final 5-6 games from last season, and he's truly continuing it here this season. Look at these game stats so far. 65% completion percentage game one with 337 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Ended up winning the game. Game 2, 75% completion percentage for 338 yards, 1 touchdown. He did have those 2 end zone or red zone interceptions. Unfortunately, they lose the game by 3, but then he played so freaking well last week against the Chiefs to get the win. 68% completion percentage, 281 yards, but 4 passing touchdowns, no turnovers, no interceptions. Absolutely love it. So he truly got it done. I don't think I could put him over Patrick Mahomes just quite yet. We are seeing him be very, very solid right here. That loss against the Cowboys kind of left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, especially since they were at home. That would have been a huge proving game for Justin Herbert, but he ended up having a huge proving game last week against the Chiefs. So I can't put Justin Herbert above Patrick Mahomes for that number one spot. Josh Allen can't be there either at the number one spot just because he finally took off last week, and we have to kind of use this week as a gauge. Is he going to stay the course of keeping up this kind of solid streak, or is he going to go back to 50% completion percentage? Because that's what Josh Allen is so far. After 4 seasons in, going into his 4th season, we've seen 2 seasons of 50% completion percentage, absolutely trash, and we've seen one of 69, fantastic. That was fantastic. 69, 68, what do we got officially? 69. Last season. So the first 2 games this season, 58% completion percentage, 51% completion percentage, absolutely garbage. But then last week finally picked up where he left off last season, 74% completion percentage, 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That's what we're talking about. That's the Josh Allen that we can put at the number one best quarterback in this league, but it's one game. We need to see what he does this week. So we can't put Josh Allen at number one. And I want to actually put Justin Herbert above Josh Allen just for the current moment, and we are going to keep Justin Herbert above Josh Allen. We are going to revisit this week, maybe on a bi-weekly basis on our Saturday shows. I'm not sure if we're going to do this every single week. But, we like what we saw from Josh Allen, and we definitely expect him to get back and keep up this high level of play. But, Justin Herbert's been really solid for 3 straight games. Josh Allen only 1 game. So we're going to keep Justin Herbert above Josh Allen, but we're still looking for that number one quarterback. Can we give it to Aaron Rodgers? I don't think we can give it to Aaron Rodgers either because of that first game where, he really did not look good. And, he didn't show up early to the OTAs and all that. He kind of, showed up, at the last minute to training camp. So, that's kind of why we can expect him to, not have a good game 1, and he didn't. 53% completion percentage, 133 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, absolutely garbage. Good game 2 at 81% completion percentage, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. And then we just saw last game where, he comes down and wins the game single-handedly, 38 seconds left. Classic Aaron Rodgers come from behind victory to win the game. Notches another comeback from behind victory for his resume. I mean, he truly kind of stands on that. He stands on his 1 championship, only 1, and all of his come from behind victories. That's what Aaron Rodgers stands on for his greatest of all time resume. And he just did it again last week. 69% completion percentage, 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, game-winning drive as well. So Aaron Rodgers, we know what Aaron Rodgers is. He's fantastic. He gets it done all the time. We are going to put Aaron Rodgers above Josh Allen, but I am going to keep Justin Herbert above Aaron Rodgers. Leadership is taken into account on this as well. And out of all the starting quarterbacks, I think Aaron Rodgers' leadership is honestly the worst, folks. His talent truly makes up for his lack of leadership, but we know this 2 interception game is classic Aaron Rodgers, folks. Nothing's going his way. He throws in the towel. They get blown out 38-3, but he kind of wipes his hands clean of it. Hey, this is not me. This was y'all losing, and I'll step up next week. I've got no problem doing that if it just comes down to, will y'all step up? And I really believe that's kind of the attitude and the message and the kind of overall vibe and tone that is kind of set in the locker room because of Aaron Rodgers' presence. Aaron Rodgers can come out and say whatever whatever he wants in the media, folks. I don't care what y'all say to the media. We talk about what you say, and then we kind of read between the lines. Tom Brady says 95% of what I say in the national media is not exactly what I'm thinking. And you better believe it goes the same for Aaron Rodgers here, folks, 100%. So I don't care if Aaron Rodgers, after that game, week 1, where, he loses and he's like, hey, we're not panicking and, hey, we just got out to a slow start and nothing was clicking. I don't care what he says, and this is a team loss and all this. It's not truly what he believes, folks. But I will put Aaron Rodgers above Josh Allen just so far, but I mean, if Josh Allen has another great week, I'm ready to put him right above Aaron Rodgers. But we're still looking for that number 1 quarterback. I'm still not going to put Aaron Rodgers as the number 1 quarterback. Let's look at Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson and the Seahawks team, not the best, are, floundering in the back half of game number 2 and the back half of game number 3. But let's see what he was doing here. I mean, when we look at his stats, they are really gosh dang great, folks. Russell Wilson, game number 1, 78% completion percentage, 254 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Game 2, 70% completion percentage, 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then just last week, 71% completion percentage, 298 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. So he's not turning over the ball. He's efficient as heck, 70% over 3 games. We haven't read anybody's stats that are 70 over 3 games, folks. So that's fantastic. And he's not dinking and dunking. He's airing it out. 250 yards, 340, 298. I mean, he's not dinking and dunking, actively slinging this ball around while having that high completion percentage. So Russell Wilson is playing really gosh dang good. It's just not resulting into wins. But because, of his level of play, we're definitely going to rise him up here right below Justin Herbert. I mean, I'm big on Justin Herbert, and I'm not, just doing this because, I think he's great, or anything like that. I'm doing it because what we're seeing from him on the field and his leadership and when he's scoring. I mean, they got out to a nice 2-1 start and just beat the Chiefs and came close to beating the Cowboys, and we highly rank these Cowboys up. We just did our power rankings for this week on Tuesday's show, and we had the Cowboys at number 3. That was, it's a tough loss for the Chargers, but it's still a good overall loss. And, no losses. Nobody wants to lose, obviously, folks, but it's still overall a pretty solid loss here. So, man, Justin Herbert, do we have him over Russell Wilson? I think we're going to keep him above Russell Wilson, even though these stats by Russell Wilson are absolutely fantastic. He didn't turn over the ball. Maybe I should put Russell Wilson ahead. Those 2 red zone interceptions, Russell Wilson didn't make those mistakes. Now, unfortunately, Russell Wilson also didn't put his team in a position to win these games. These are both double 2-possession losses right here. 9-point loss to... 3-point loss to the Titans, 13-point loss to the Vikings. So only a 1-possession loss against the Titans, 2-possession loss against the Vikings from last week. So Russell Wilson's fantastic. I think we will leave Russell Wilson a slight tad hair above Justin Herbert. But once again, we still don't have our number 1 quarterback. I don't want Patrick Mahomes as our number 1 quarterback in the league right now. The magic is not there. Now, I'm not saying the magic won't get there this week and next week and continue on for the season. And if that happens, we will reflect our list accurately. But as of right now, folks, we are not seeing the magic by Patrick Mahomes. So the next quarterback here on the list is Dak Prescott. And now this is a true contender for the number 1 spot. So let's see how high on this list we can give Dak Prescott the nod. So here we go. Game 1, an unfortunate loss, and it came against the Bucs. Just like we're not kind of penalizing Justin Herbert too much for that loss against the Cowboys, the 2 red zone interceptions are kind of inexcusable, but he's only year 2, so we give him a little bit of a free pass, tad free pass there. But with Dak Prescott, once again, going against the Bucs, a little bit of a free pass there, a little bit, but they only lost by 2. 3 touchdowns. He did throw the pick there, but 72% completion percentage for 403 yards. And, everybody was talking about this Bucs team being one of the best defenses in the league because, they're rebringing back all their starters and they just hit their stride at the end of last season. So the fact that Dak Prescott on the road, first game of the year for everybody, slings the ball 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, really solid performance there, and then follows that performance up with an 85% completion percentage game, 237 yards against the Chargers, no touchdown. He did throw the pick, but at the end of the day, he was efficient. He was moving the ball, and he did it just enough to win the game by 3. And then last week, he gets back on track, doesn't throw a pick, 80% completion percentage, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, wins the game. Sunday Night Football, division rival, at home, all of that, puts up 41 points, moves the ball. The leadership of Dak is maybe one of the best quarterback leaderships I've seen, folks. It's way better than Aaron Rodgers. I definitely will say that. Patrick Mahomes had some great leadership this week when they were down on the sideline, yelling at his guys, getting them ready to go. And Dak Prescott does the same exact thing, if not better. I may say a little bit better. So I'm ready to say that Dak Prescott is the number 1 quarterback in this league of all the quarterbacks that we've seen so far. So now that we've got Dak at number 1, I still think we can keep Patrick Mahomes at number 2 right now. Russell Wilson will be number 3, Justin Herbert at 4, Aaron Rodgers at 5, Josh Allen at 6. I think we are good here right now for the top 6. So now let's start reordering everybody else. Now that we have our number 1 out of the way, now this doesn't say that, one of these other quarterbacks that are kind of going to come up, Deshaun Watson, Kyla Murray, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr won't be number 1, but, we have our new number 1. We feel we're comfortable with having Dak Prescott number 1, if that's what we end up deciding on. But let's rank these other quarterbacks. Unfortunately, Deshaun Watson, well, he's not playing this year, so truly unfortunate. If, we were just taking last season into consideration, I do have his last season stats up. I mean, last season was truly incredible by Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson really, when he's actively playing, really could make an argument for number 1 quarterback in the league. Last year's stats, 70% completion percentage for the entire season. Is truly immaculate, folks. 4,800 yards, led the team in passing, even though the team was a dumpster fire overall. 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, sheesh, folks. These are absolutely immaculate, amazing, flawless stats, if I do say so. So Deshaun Watson, unfortunately we can't really rank him this season because he's not playing. But, I mean, given what he did last season, if we were just having to put Deshaun Watson at a place, I mean, definitely could put him number 2. Definitely maybe could even put him number 1. Unfortunately, he's not playing, so we do have to just dump him down. It's unfortunate. But we'll move him all the way to the bottom of the list just because he's not playing. But if he is playing, definitely above Justin Herbert, above Russell Wilson. Make the argument for above Patrick Mahomes. Make the argument for above Dak Prescott. Just unfortunately, he's not playing. Alrighty, Kyla Murray now is the next quarterback up, and man, oh man, this man is absolutely fan-freaking-tastic, folks, and he's going to be climbing, folks. We got to move this man up pretty high. I mean, he's got his team out to 3-0. He's leading the charge from behind, getting outscored by the Vikings week 2, getting outscored by the Jaguars week 2, but still staying the course and just slinging the ball around, putting up 30-plus points every single game, coming back from behind, no problem. 3-0 start here by Kyla Murray. So, game number 1, 65% completion percentage, 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Game 2, 80% completion percentage for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he threw 2 interceptions in that game and still won and still came from behind. Obviously, we don't want to see the interceptions, but if you're able to come from behind and work it out and still put up great numbers and yards and stats and points and still come out and win the game, we can kind of give it, turn a little bit of a blind eye to it, a little bit of a free pass. Obviously, don't want to see that keep happening, but overall, not terrible. And then last week, 82% completion percentage, 316 yards, no touchdowns, and he threw a pick, and they still were able to win the game. So this is great here by Kyla Murray. Just got to clean up the interceptions. If he didn't have all these interceptions, I could definitely put him number 1. But because of all these interceptions, we got to kind of move him down a little bit. So here we go, Kyla Murray. Let's move him up. All right, please, let us just move him up here. All right, this is being wonky on us now for some reason. Come on. Jeez. What are we doing? Let's refresh this. All right. So our internet's crapping out on us for some reason. Jeez Louise. All right, so let's just kind of keep... We're going to have to go old school and write it all down now until we get it back online because it won't let us move. But, I mean, we can move Kyla Murray above Josh Allen. I'm moving him above Aaron Rodgers, and now we have no visual. That's definitely not what we wanted. But yeah, I'd probably put Kyla Murray right above Patrick Mahomes. I think I'm putting Kyla Murray above Patrick Mahomes because the only real difference so far this season between Patrick Mahomes and Kyla Murray is that Kyla Murray is showing that kind of magic quality about him, coming from behind, completing the come from behind drives, where Patrick Mahomes, he's stalling on those come back from behind drives. So I'm going to put Kyla Murray number 2. So it's going to go Dak Prescott, then Kyla Murray, then Patty Mahomes. Like I said, if Kyla Murray didn't have all those interceptions, we could put Kyla Murray ahead of Dak Prescott, but he's got the picks. We can't do that just yet. All right. So the next quarterback we've got is Lamar Jackson, folks. So how high can we put Lamar Jackson? Now, Lamar Jackson, he's a dual-threat quarterback. Same thing with Kyla Murray. They've both got that dual-threat quality about them. Let's look at Kyla Murray's dual-threat stats. We didn't touch on that. But his rushing stats, what do we got here for the first 3 games? So far, he's only rushed for 70 yards here in 2021. So a little uncharacteristic so far. Only 23 yards a game, 51 yards a game rushing last season, 34 yards rushing a game in his rookie year. So his rushing stats are a little down this year, but, he's still getting it done with his arm, obviously. We got this up yet? And it is not up yet. All right, but Lamar Jackson, dual threat quarterback like Kyla Murray. Now, they're very, very similar in their run style. When we talk about dual threat quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Kyla Murray are the cream of the crop. They are the 1 and 2, and I don't even know if they are even 1 and 2. I think they're 1 and 1. And I won't even do 1A, 1B because obviously B comes after A. It's just 1 and 1. They are 1 and 1. They're the fastest. I think their speed overall is literally the same. Their athleticism, their cutting is all the same. Their acceleration, I think, is all the same. But Lamar Jackson utilizes his legs a lot more than any other dual threat quarterback in this league. Now, Lamar Jackson is the only player on this Ravens team offensively, folks. I mean, the receivers are not helping him out. The running attack was injured right from the get-go. They had to sign all the kind of backup running backs that they could right before the season started because all their starting running backs got injured. So Lamar Jackson is truly putting the team on his back and doing everything here, moving the ball 100% himself, scoring the ball basically 100% himself out here. So Lamar Jackson is... he's doing it all out here, just to say the least. All right, but here we go. Game number 1, and this is what I want to see a little bit better out of Lamar Jackson, just the completion percentage up a little bit more. And I know Marquise Brown has not been helping him, and having, Bateman out, who was supposed to, help him out in the quarterback kind of, room, or the wide receiver room. They're not that deep. They got Sammy Watkins, who's not really a tier 1 wide receiver in this league. He's a solid tier 2. Marquise Brown's he's bordering tier 3 wide receiver in this league because of all the drops, but he's a solid tier 2. Rashad Bateman, the rookie that was supposed to come in, obviously we're not going to upgrade him to tier 1 status just quite yet, but, there's no really tier 1 wide receivers on this team. In the wide receivers that, Lamar Jackson is working with, they're truly not helping him out. So, I understand that, but I still need Lamar Jackson's completion percentage to be up. I mean, we just read everybody else's completion percentage. I mean, we're talking about 70s consistently, 80s here, some through the first 3 game stretches. And so far, Lamar Jackson, game 1, 63%, which is just borderline good. 235 yards, 1 touchdown. Game 2, 69% completion percentage, which we absolutely love. 239 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, and then just last week, 51% completion percentage on the road against Detroit. 287 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So the passing game is just okay overall. We know he's a great runner in this league as well. Rushing, he had 86 yards game 1. 107 yards with 2 touchdowns game 2, and then 58 yards rushing last week, no touchdowns. So we know Lamar Jackson's a great passer in this league, but we need to see that completion percentage up a little bit more. All right, we definitely need this list to come back online like right now, because I can't put him above Dak. I'm not going to put him above Kyla Murray. I don't even think I put him above Patrick Mahomes right now. I still think I keep Patrick Mahomes at number 3. So it would probably be Lamar Jackson, maybe maybe number 4. I forget. I think we have Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson at number 4, and I think I put him under Russell Wilson. I mean, Russell Wilson still had these great percentage numbers, and I need to see the percentage here, the completion percentage here by Lamar Jackson. Obviously, all these other quarterbacks have better wide receivers than Lamar Jackson does, but, I can't use that as an excuse and just kind of overlook it and put Lamar Jackson above these other above all these other quarterbacks. I still need you to find a way to get it done, even if all the circumstances aren't lined up 100% to your liking, or if they're not at the same par of your competition that you're going against. I still need you to figure out a way to get it done, and I can't just make excuses and use your poor weapons as excuses for you to talk about you better, to move you up in power rankings or whatever we're talking about. So I think we got to leave Lamar Jackson a little bit down on this list. Unfortunately, we don't have the list up. It's still not loading up. It's truly frustrating, but the show must go on. We are live here. So we do have to move Lamar Jackson down a little bit. I think we're going to move Russell Wilson, keep him at 4. I believe that's where he is. I will put Lamar Jackson. Do I put him above Aaron Rodgers? That's really what I'm determining now. Do I put Lamar Jackson above or below Aaron Rodgers? That's really what the discussion is, I think, at the current moment. Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers? Ugh. I mean, they both got the big arm. Lamar Jackson, I still trust that arm. Man, oh man, that's tough. Lamar Jackson or Aaron Rodgers, man. I think I'm going to go Lamar Jackson's leadership, his attitude is better. Aaron Rodgers passing a game, obviously, is better than Lamar Jackson, but then Lamar Jackson has that dual threat ability. I'm going to give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt. Now I will give Lamar Jackson the benefit of the doubt, and that's when I'll use the receivers as the kind of tiebreaker for where we put Lamar Jackson. I'll have Lamar Jackson above Aaron Rodgers. That's where we're going to rank that. All righty. Next quarterback up here. We're going to be trying to get this list back online as soon as possible. All right. I may be able to bring this up on my phone. All right. Let's hold with us for 1 second, folks. Let me type this URL into our phone. Hopefully that works. It should work. It's just, am I going to be able to read the URL correctly? Because it is just wild. It's just random letters, numbers, classic URL. All right, so here we go. And y'all can go to this website too, y'all. Y'all can go here. Just don't change it. Actually, I do think y'all can change it. Oh, this might not be a good idea. So let me not. I don't think y'all can see it on the screen. So let me not read it out loud. I don't need y'all ruining this this list for us out here. All right, so here we go. Give us 1 second. We're gonna type this in, and if it doesn't work, then we will just drop it and we will move on. Keep moving on. No worries. But we're almost through it. 1 second. Who do y'all think is gonna win this Bucks Patriots game this week? Discuss among yourselves. Tom Brady. Y'all know Bill B. What do y'all think about them? Yeah. I agree. Yep. Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think those two. Yeah, so, I think we're on the same page. Bucks -7. I'm pretty sure that's what y'all were saying, right? Alrighty. WYJX BD1. All right, is this it? I type it in right? Okay. Well, I don't think we typed it in right. Unfortunate. Okay, well, that didn't work. So, all right, well, let's just talk about the next quarterback up then. The next quarterback we got to discuss is Matthew Stafford. Good thing we brought up all these before the show began. All right, so here we go. Matthew Stafford, great performance so far this season. Exactly, kind of being exactly who we all thought he was in Detroit. Just unfortunately, we all know a garbage team around him, so we never had the true opportunity to really prove himself out here. But yeah, Matthew Stafford out here, game number 1, 76% completion percentage, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Game number 2, 63% completion percentage on the road, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And then just last week facing the Bucs, 71% completion percentage, 343 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. The man is being exactly who we thought he was, the pure pocket, big arm, accurate passer that wins games. And if he has great wide receivers with him, I mean, now we're just truly talking. I mean, we're taking off with Matthew Stafford alone, but now we had good receivers around him. I mean, we're truly shooting off into space with Matthew Stafford. So he's looking incredible out here, and I really think as of right now, I think I take Matthew Stafford over Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes, once again, the magic is just not here. And once again, he's kind of at his 4-year mark, and we kind of gauge, 4-year stretches. It's hard to really be good, year after year, and it's even harder to be great for more than a 4-year stretch. And, we're kind of starting to see, is Patrick Mahomes going to follow the same kind of start of his career that we just saw Russell Wilson? Came out of the gate hot, got 2 Super Bowls, 1 win in 4 years, and then hasn't gone back for the last 5 seasons. And now the same thing with Patrick Mahomes is starting to take form. Super Bowl champion, another Super Bowl participant in 4 years, and now we get a 1-2 start. In the magic that was so great about Patrick Mahomes the first 3 years is just not there quite yet this season. Same thing with Russell Wilson. That kind of magic and kind of winning the game at the end of the game and always kind of being in it, it kind of has faded a little bit as Russell Wilson's career has kind of gone on a little bit. It's not huge. It's not like night and day, magic, no magic. But we do see, Russell Wilson not getting back to the Super Bowl, not winning all those games that he used to win. And we're starting to get that with Patrick Mahomes. So I think I'm going to move Matthew Stafford above Patrick Mahomes and have it be Dak, Kyla Murray, and then Matthew Stafford as the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. That's where we're going to move Matthew Stafford. Number 3. I'm loving what he's doing here. He's winning the game. He's being dominant offensively. They're putting up the points every single game. Let's read his point totals here. 34 points game 1, 27 game 2, 34 game 3. I mean, putting up 30 points at home, scoring exactly when they need to, going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady and kind of outperforming him a little bit. 71% completion percentage. I mean, this is what we're talking about, folks. So, absolutely great leader, getting it done, winning games, and now when expectations are on Matthew Stafford, he's actually kind of hitting those expectations out of the park where, those expectations were truly lessened in Detroit because of the team overall. So we're putting Matthew Stafford right there at number 3. We love it. Alrighty, now let's talk about Tom Brady. So far, so good start to his season so far. Game 1, 64% completion percentage, 379 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Game number 2, 66% completion percentage, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. And then just last week, 74% completion percentage on 55 attempts. 432 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. He's slinging this ball around. Now, Tom Brady, obviously we all know he's a great quarterback in this league. He's got great weapons everywhere. Unfortunately, he could not win last week against the Rams. Couldn't quite go toe-to-toe. Lost by 2 possessions to the Rams. Unfortunate. But Tom Brady is still a pretty solid closer in this league, we know. Got it done against the Cowboys late, then blew out the Falcons. That was a really kind of no test. But the fact that, this man is always, his completion percentage is right on par on what he usually does. This is not like an outlier good or bad, kind of an outlier season for him. This is kind of a classic Tom Brady season. I'm glad that he's cleaning up the turnovers these last 2 games because we saw, 2 interceptions game 1, and that kind of, brought up memories of what Tom Brady did last season in the playoffs and kind of got bailed out that Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees just couldn't take advantage of all the interceptions that he was throwing. So I'm glad that he's cleaned up these interceptions, but I'd probably have, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers above him. Tom Brady is doing, what he's doing, and this is not a knock on Tom Brady by kind of lowering him on this list. It's, would Tom Brady be as good as he is right now if he kind of switched receivers with Lamar Jackson? You give Tom Brady, Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman. Does he have as much success? I'm sure he still has good success. This is not a knock Brady segment. He's still the greatest quarterback of all time. He's just not number one, I don't think, quite yet. His 44th year, old, and his 20th season in the league. He's just not number one right now, but he's still top 10. I say we put him in top 10, I would say. We have him under Dak. We have him under Kyla Murray. We have him under Patrick Mahomes. I have him under Russell Wilson. I may have him actually above Lamar Jackson. I still got to go with Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson, I think, folks. And I definitely have Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that's even a debate at this point. I'm taking Tom Brady, pure passer, over Aaron Rodgers all day. So I'm going to put Tom Brady above. It's just, do we put him above Lamar Jackson? And yeah, I think I do. I think we do. Once again, Lamar Jackson's great. This is not a knock quarterback segment here. I mean, when we're talking about, what separates these quarterbacks, it's not big gaps, folks. It's literally like small gaps between the quarterback above and below these people. So this is not knocks, folks. Just like wide receivers, when we talk about wide receivers in this league, when we talk about quarterbacks, when we do like a top 10, nobody should be insulted or knocking that, we're just, ordering these players this way. It's just unfortunate. One thing that we value more is leadership. Maybe y'all don't value leadership the way we value leadership, or y'all value, fourth quarter comebacks, or, first quarter, getting out to good starts. Maybe y'all weigh that a little bit more than we do, and that's what your tiebreaker is. But for the most part, I would say all of our thinking on quarterback is kind of on the same page, and it's just like those final one or two details that determine, all right, the kind of tiebreaker between all this greatness out here. So I'm going to put Tom Brady above Lamar Jackson. So that would be kind of top 5, right? Dak 1, Kyler 2, Matthew Stafford 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, Russell Wilson 5, and then Tom Brady 6, which is still absolutely fantastic. So we're putting Tom Brady number 6. Is this list back up? This is not back up, and it's kind of killing us. All right, what else do we got? I think we're going to do one more quarterback. We got maybe these 3. Let's end on these 3. These are pretty good. We got to get Derek Carr into the mix. All right, so let's end off on these next 4, and then everybody else is just kind of real mediocre. I mean, nobody even has a chance. I mean, Daniel Jones, Matt Ryan, Tua, no chance at kind of being number 1 quarterback. But let's finish off kind of, solid tier 1, tier 2, right on the verge quarterbacks right here. So let's talk about Ryan Tannehill. All righty. 2-1 start here for old Tannehill. 60% percentage game 2, 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. 67% completion percentage game 2, 347 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then just last week, 66% completion percentage, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So Ryan Tannehill is playing a little bit of game manager football out here. Definitely relies on the wide receivers in the running game of Derrick Henry to utilize all of his strengths and to put him in the right position to win the game. So Ryan Tannehill is clearly not touching anybody. Dak, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. So Ryan Tannehill is like, bottom of all those. Still okay. He's throwing way too many picks for, what his level is. He's an above average game manager. Game managers are not throwing all these picks out here. So he's got to clean that up. And now he doesn't have, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones this week, so we'll see what he can do. And this completion percentage is still a little all right, just a little all right. 66, 67 the last 2 weeks, we can get behind that, but that's, we've been seeing 70s and 80s, and it's crazy out here, folks. We have to kind of change our metric of completion percentage. We like 62 to 65, but this new age, these last 2-3 seasons, the completion percentage has been going absolutely bonkers out here. So Ryan Tannehill, not going bonkers with the completion percentage. We got to kind of, lower him a little bit. All right, now let's talk about Carson Wentz quickly. Game 1, 65% completion percentage, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Game 2, 64% completion percentage, 247 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Last week, 51% completion percentage, 194 yards, no touchdown, no pick. This is what we're talking about. No great completion percentage out here. Not being efficient, not being accurate. After we just named all those great quarterbacks that are accurate, efficient every single week, Carson Wentz is truly floundering out here. So I put Carson Wentz well below Ryan Tannehill. Absolutely. This is not getting it done. This man was supposed to be kind of the savior for this Colts team. Supposed to really elevate his play here and put all the doubters and haters to rest out here by getting it done in this Colts system. But he's floundering big time right here. 0-3. And this is kind of an 0-3 stat line right here. Not going above and beyond. Not doing more than what you need to do to put the team on your back to go out and win the game. We get 65% completion percentage. Is your best day. That's kind of, that was, the high mark on our old metric. We're still figuring out the metric. It's going to kind of take this entire year to really get that kind of new number of what is good in completion percentage wise, yards, and touchdown to interception ratio. Those are all kind of under construction now because of the passing game over the last year or two. So Carson Wentz is not stepping it up. This is not great football. This is not great quarterback, at least in 2020. Maybe in 2010, in 2011, in 2012, this was good quarterback play. This is not cutting it now. Carson Wentz is now officially very, very not good. Borderline trash. I won't call him trash quite yet, but he's getting there. All right, now let's talk about Baker Mayfield, another kind of above average game manager like Ryan Tannehill. Let's see what his stats are. This is what we're talking about. 75% completion percentage, game 1, 321 yards, no touchdown, 1 pick, not great, but overall accurate as heck and really efficient, and they're able to kind of go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs because of that. The 1 interception, basically why they lose this 4-point game. So you clean up that pick, everything else is great, but he threw the pick, unfortunate. Game 2, 90% completion percentage on 21 throws, just missed 2 passes. 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And then just last week, 61% completion percentage, 246 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. A little wonky out of that game, but really kind of uncharacteristic of him as 61% completion percentage. That's not really his game. So a little bit of an outlier game last week. But he's playing to his strengths. He's got great talent around him. He's utilizing it all. And Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill, real similar in style of play and game manager, quarterbacks, and all that. So I definitely have Baker Mayfield above Carson Wentz. It's just, do we put Baker Mayfield above Ryan Tannehill? Baker Mayfield doesn't have that clutch gene just quite yet, where Ryan Tannehill has actively been gaining that clutch gene these last 2 seasons. So Baker Mayfield just doesn't have that clutch gene just quite yet. Why he couldn't beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and why, he really couldn't close out the door against the Bears until kind of late in the second half. So I'm going to put Ryan Tannehill above Baker Mayfield. So we'll put Baker Mayfield right between Ryan Tannehill and Carson Wentz. Baker. All right, so this is our new list. It's not loading, but we have it down on paper, and I think we aren't missing anybody. I think we have everybody up here. We don't have Justin Herbert. I forgot where we put Justin Herbert. I think we put Aaron Rodgers above Justin Herbert, I think. Ugh. See what happens when we don't have internet? Unfortunate, folks. But here we go. This is kind of our new list, and, this is basically where we stand. So we've got Dak 1, Kyla Murray 2, Matthew Stafford 3, Patrick Mahomes 4, Russell Wilson 5, Tom Brady 6, Lamar Jackson 7, Aaron Rodgers 8, Justin Herbert 9, I believe that's where we have him. Ryan Tannehill 10, Baker Mayfield 11, and Carson Wentz 12. But Carson Wentz is going to be definitely low when we get to everybody else. Which we just don't. Oh, we got to fit Derek Carr in. All right, quickly, Derek Carr, folks. Here we go. Game 1, 70% completion, or 60% completion percentage, 435 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Truly slinging it around with 400 yards. Game number 2, 75% completion percentage for 382 yards, 2 touchdowns, no pick. Last week, 60% completion percentage for 386 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This man is slinging the ball around. I love the yards there. The completion percentage definitely needs to be cleaned up a little bit. He is throwing the ball a lot. 56 attempts game 1, 37 attempts game 2, 43 attempts game 3. So I understand, the lower completion percentage because of all the attempts, but definitely would have liked to short it up around 65. There's still no reason for not 65% completion percentage, but I'm definitely going to put Derek Carr above Justin Herbert for the moment. I don't know if I put put him above Aaron Rodgers. We need that completion percentage up a little bit more. If he had 65% completion percentage for game 1 and game number 3, I would have put him above Aaron Rodgers. I would have put him above Lamar Jackson, but because of 60% there, that's real lackluster. So we're going to put him above Justin Herbert, but that's it. And he's still finding a way to win the game, which is always great. But still, close games can't give him, high top 5 honors. 60% completion percentage can't give him high top 5 honors. So Derek Carr kind of placed around 8-9-ish. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're back live tomorrow, noon Eastern, doing it all again. So we will come back at you live tomorrow, kind of in our pre-game wrap-up show, having that full day of NFL ahead of us. Alrighty, folks, that's going to do it for us. We're out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Back live tomorrow, noon Eastern. Alrighty, folks.